Mexico has been a hotspot for UFO activity for decades, a land where the skies seem to whisper secrets. Some of the most extraordinary UFO encounters ever recorded have unfolded here. Yet many remain buried, dismissed, or they still slip quietly beneath the world's radar. Is it the lingering energy of the Aztecs? Echoes of ancient sky gods watching over their descendants? Or something else entirely? Whatever the cause, these accounts and the men who lived them invite us to look closer, to uncover the truth behind the lights, the legends and the voices in the Mexican skies. It's 12:30 p.m. on a clear day in May. 23-year-old commercial pilot Carlos de los Santos Montiel is returning from Zihuatanejo to Mexico City in a Piper PA-24 Comanche, single-engine, four-seater, nothing fancy. Halfway across Lake Texcoco, Carlos radios the control tower. His voice trembles.
Torre de control. Me atacan. Son objetos. No humanos.
Translation. Control tower. I'm under attack. They're objects, not human. Radar confirms a blip, then three more, closing in formation. Witnesses on the ground see flashes of silver darting around his aircraft. Carlos reports one craft below his left wing, another above, and a third beneath the fuselage. Suddenly, his controls jam. The landing gear refuses to retract. The radio crackles into static. Then, silence. Minutes later, the Piper reappears on radar, descending toward Mexico City. Carlos lands safely. The aircraft is intact. Mechanics find no physical damage, yet the landing gear mechanisms show magnetic scoring, as if exposed to an electromagnetic field. The civil aviation report calls it instrument malfunction. Carlos calls it something else.
It was scary. They played with me like a child's toy.
He never forgets the vibration in his hands, or the cold hum that filled the cockpit when the discs vanished. The next day, officials log the event and seal it away. When journalists ask, they're told it was pilot fatigue. Carlos insists he wasn't tired. He was terrified. He later recounts the encounter on national television and at the 1978 UFO Congress in Acapulco. Then he disappears from the public eye, leaving behind one of Mexico's most credible close encounter cases. And yet, the story of pilots and voices in the Mexican skies isn't over. Because the following year, another young aviator would fly straight into the same mystery. Only this time, the sky would speak back. It's a Monday morning, 7:15 a.m., at the Mexico City Flight School. Student pilot Rafael Pacheco Perez, 23 years old, climbs into a Cessna 150 for his first solo navigation exercise. He's to make a short loop over Chimalhuacan, about 30 miles east, then return. By 7:23 a.m., the Cessna clears the runway. At 7:27, radar contact flickers, then disappears. Controllers assume radio failure. At 11:36 a.m., nearly 4 hours later, a faint transmission hits the Acapulco Tower, 200 miles away. He is speaking because he is ordered to do so. But the strange thing is, it is his voice, but it is not him. And it is not of his own free will. Another voice states,
"We are using him as if he were a microphone. Our planet is many light years from Earth. We come in peace. You are not alone in the universe. There are other races. Some we keep away from you. But we watch you, because you are not ready."
The control tower operator, Jesus Gonzalez Rojas, later describes the voice as flat and metallic, but calm. He insists the speech pattern was not human. It seemed to be too precise, and it was without hesitation. Yet it was coming through the pilot's channel. And then, after 3 minutes and 52 seconds, the signal fades. At 11:44 a.m., radar identifies the Cessna approaching Acapulco Bay. Ground crews rush to meet the plane. The Cessna's wheels touch down smoothly at 11:48 a.m. Fuel gauge, nearly full. Flight clock. Stopped at 7:30 a.m. When they open the cockpit, Raphael stares blankly ahead, conscious, responsive, but detached. He mutters only, "I wasn't the one speaking." Medical exams show no intoxication, no hypoxia, no trauma. The Cessna's fuel lines are clean. Range should have been 300 kilometers, yet it covered nearly 480. Investigators record everything. Then the file disappears into the same archive that holds Carlos de los Santos' report. Fragments of the recording survive, shared among aviation enthusiasts and UFO researchers for decades. Audio analysis suggests two voices layered together, Raphael's baseline and a secondary tone 8 Hz higher, consistent with electronic frequency overlay, not natural speech. Skeptics argue it's a hoax, spliced radio drama, perhaps an AM relay. But those who claim to have heard the original say the timing matches the radar log exactly. The last words on the tape:
Now he will sleep. We thank you for listening.
Then, static. 2 pilots, 2 years apart, both flying small aircraft, both linked to unexplained aerial events. In the 1970s, Mexico became a hotspot for UFO activity, particularly near the volcanoes Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl. Locals reported metallic spheres, fireballs, and strange lights emerging from the craters. Even the Mexican Air Force filed an unclassified report about radar anomalies in the region. Could these have been natural electromagnetic events, or something monitoring from above? Some researchers believe the 2 cases, de los Santos and Pacheco, represent stages of contact. First physical interference, then direct communication. Psychiatrists later proposed a phenomenon called aeronautical dissociation. When a pilot is isolated at high altitude, stress and hypoxia can produce auditory hallucinations, even a sense of external control. It could explain voices, but it doesn't explain how Raphael's plane flew hundreds of miles beyond its range on minimal fuel, or why Carlos's instruments froze mid-flight. Some say these events were Cold War tests of psychotronic interference, experiments in mind-voice broadcasting using VHF bands. No proof exists, but the timing matches US and Soviet research into synthetic telepathy. When investigators revisited the cases in the 1980s, they found no paper trail. The flight logs, gone. The fuel records, missing. The radio reel, never existed. Both pilots were reportedly told to stop talking. Carlos went back to private charters. Rafael never flew again. If this was a hoax, it ended 2 careers. If it wasn't, it was buried under national security protocol. So, what did this message mean? And what did this alleged being try to tell us through Raphael?
We are beings of this universe to which you belong. Not from beyond, from here.
Maybe they weren't invading. Maybe they were already neighbors. Raphael's recording suggests a warning more than a revelation, a subtle reminder that we're being observed and perhaps being protected from something else. Whether that something else is cosmic or political, it will depend on who you ask. Since 1976, radio hobbyists along Mexico's Pacific coast have occasionally reported hearing faint phrases on frequency 123.45 MHz, the same channel used by Rafael Pacheco Pérez. Most hear only static. A few claim to catch a voice saying, "We are still here." Coincidence? Interference? Or an open line waiting for someone to answer?